Am I the asshole for asking my dad's wife why she expected to walk me down the aisle when she's not my mom? My mom died when I was in kindergarten and my dad didn't remarry until I, 26 male, was 22. He didn't date at all while my siblings and I were kids. His wife is fine. She's not my favorite person and I find her a little off when it comes to her relationship with me and my siblings. They feel the same. She gives the vibe that she expected to be accepted as our motherly figure instead of as our dad's partner, wife. We're close to dad. He has never given us the same vibe. He'll still hang out with us individually without his wife or each other around. But she definitely gives that vibe. It's weird to me because we were all adults and I'm the baby of the family, so my siblings were even older when she married our dad. And to think she would fill any kind of mom role, in my mind, is weird. My dad loves her though and he's happy and she's nice enough other than this, so we don't rock the boat. However, this is now a situation where I did start to rock the boat and I wonder if I'm the asshole for that. So my fiancée Ellie and I are getting married and we decided we both wanted to walk down the aisle. She wanted to walk with her parents, so I thought it'd be kinda cool to ask my dad. He said yes. He got really emotional about it. He said he wished my mom could be here to walk with us, and yeah, I do too, so much. My dad's wife later approached me and told me she would gladly walk me down the aisle instead, and she wanted me to know that I hadn't needed to ask my dad instead. I asked her what she meant and she assumed I wanted her but was afraid to ask. I told her that wasn't what I wanted at all. She told me that was unexpected, and when she heard I had asked Dad, she expected I would want her instead. So I asked her why she expected to walk me down the aisle when she is not my mom. She looked so offended when I asked her and she told me I didn't need to be so tactless about it. I told her I was genuinely asking and told her I couldn't understand. She then said she clearly misunderstood the relationship she has with me and my siblings and I can keep my thoughtless questions to myself. My dad was so confused by her reaction too. I told him what happened and he had no idea. She is really pissed off though. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Frankly, the part that put it over the top for me was her seeming belief you wanted her to walk you instead of your dad. Not even, just, with your dad, which would also already be a lot and very presumptuous. She's out of her mind. Not the asshole. As you have said, you have no motherly connection to your dad's wife. She joined your family long after you were raised by your dad, and you had moved on into adulthood, at 22. It's very bizarre that her expectation is to be treated like a parental figure when she herself knows she wasn't around to be a parent to you. She should not have assumed you meant to ask her for that role, especially when there is zero evidence or reason that you would. I would suggest though, that instead of trying to keep the peace by avoiding the subject, you have a talk with Dad and your siblings about making your feelings clear to your dad's wife. There's no reason why you can't all have a good family relationship without someone assuming they have to be a certain role, parent or child, etc. Not the asshole and glad your dad is just as confused as you are. Not sure why she would think she suddenly gets to be mom when you've all been adults for at least 4+ years before she married your dad. Also weird for her to assume that she would be the only one walking you down versus her and your dad. Maybe she also assumed your fiancé was doing the traditional dad walks down instead of both parents and thought it would be her because of the corresponding opposite gender? Either way, she seems a little out of touch with reality and too focused on the version of it which exists in her head where she's a doting mom to a bunch of adults whose bio-mom died. So I asked her why she expected to walk me down the aisle when she is not my mom. She looked so offended when I asked her and she told me I didn't need to be so tactless about it. Act tactless, surprised when called about it, and then start projecting. You could have posted that in r, boomers being fools. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. That's the work of an attention seeker who wants to be seen as the belle of the ball. Let her steep in her own self-sentiment. It is your wedding. You have better things to be at, never mind, than trying to keep anyone entertained in their own self-importance. Enjoy your day. Not the asshole. But it is clear that she has been angling after a different relationship with you and your siblings, and this is the first time it's been glaringly apparent as to where she stands with you lot. Perhaps it's time to have an honest conversation with your dad about how you feel about his wife and let him handle that. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I don't want to care for her kids? Am I the asshole for not wanting to care for my siblings? I, 20 female, have a sister, 16 female, and 2 half-siblings from our mom's new marriage, 3 male, and an infant sister. My mom insists on my help with the youngest siblings, constantly, without notice. She wants me to babysit, or feed them, or give them baths. Most of the time it's fine, but sometimes it's overboard. For context in my reactions, I have autism, high functioning, Asperger's. The situation. Today she asked me to give them baths, I did. It was hard because of my sensory issues and the fact they were both screaming bloody murder in my ear over wanting my mom to give them baths instead. It was okay though, I pushed through, got them dressed through the screaming. Then I left them in the living room with her and started to go back to my room. She asked if I could hold the baby a little longer. I did, but she was screaming and crying still, so it was hard. The only time she'd calm down was if my mom held her, and she didn't want to because she was getting ready to leave for an AA meeting. At this point I was extremely overstimulated. I was standing sort of rigid, but still holding the baby acceptably, I thought. She began to yell at me, saying I wasn't holding her with the right body language, and if I held her, like I cared about her, she wouldn't cry. I told her she's probably crying because she wants to be held by her mom, separation anxiety, because no matter how much I coddled her before, she still cried. This is a consistent thing that's happened since my sister started going to daycare. Maybe I'm a bit rigid after being screamed at, but still I don't feel like my body language was the issue. My mom eventually got fed up and told me to put her in the feeding chair, so I did and started to walk back to my room. She then started to rant on about how she still needs my help with watching them longer and how I don't care about my brother and sister. She said she shouldn't have to ask for help. It didn't even occur to me that it was assumed for me to stick around and watch them because their father is home. All she asked was that I give them a bath, then hold the baby, and I did that. This escalated into an argument in which I told her that her children aren't my responsibility, especially not at 20 years old, and while I don't have a problem helping out sometimes, I'm not her employee and both can't, because of autism, and won't, because I wouldn't want to if I could, predict what she wants from me in order to wait on her hand and foot. I do live at home for free, so it could be entitled of me to be so averse to helping her with them. I do other things. I'm the only one in the house who cleans regularly, every other day, and that's easy for me as it doesn't involve any crazy variables and never changes. But I do not want to help with my siblings the amount she wants. Not the asshole. I would seriously look at finding a way to move out. Has your ASD been formally diagnosed and documented? If so, you should qualify for some disability resources. In my state, each county has an aging and disability resource center that we can call to find out what sort of services, funding, housing is available. They can also help you find out if you qualify for SSDI if you aren't able to work. Not the asshole. Their dad can help out. It didn't even occur to me that it was assumed for me to stick around and watch them because their father is home. Up until this point in the story, I'd assumed there was no dad in the picture. He needs to get off his ass. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You are not the parent. I think you need to ask yourself some questions about your future, though. Are you going to school? Do you work? Are you going to live independently in the near future? If not, you are a dependent of your mom and stepdad and they aren't unreasonable to expect you to contribute to the household. Given your issues, childcare is not the best choice. Can you sit down and calmly work out contributions that accommodate your issues? Doing all the cleaning? How are you at cooking? Grocery shopping? If you are relieving other burdens on your mom, she might find parenting easier. However, while I think you need to figure out your adult role, your mom has no business expecting you to raise her younger kids. I told her that her children aren't my responsibility. Not the asshole. You don't have an issue helping out and you're hardly being an asshole here. Truth is, it's her responsibility and the baby's dad's responsibility. He is home and should be stepping up. Not the asshole. When I was a kid of 3 other siblings, being forced to help with the siblings practically ruined childhood for me. I could never stop and relax for 1 second because I was always watching out for them. Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law she could have gotten her own apartment? So, 2 years ago, my husband, Sam, M34, and I, F35, lived with my parents for a year while looking for a house. Meanwhile, Sam's sister Lucy, F47, moved to our country for a job. The plan was for her husband Tom, 51, and son to stay in their home country until Lucy found a house. Lucy, Sam, and I hung out a lot. Every time, we'd ask, "Hey, how's the house hunting?" And Lucy would say, "I'm working 12 hours a day. I don't have time to look. I'm still living in Airbnbs. Do you need help?" "Oh no, I'm fine. Over the next few weeks, we helped Lucy download house hunting apps and took her to open houses, but she made 0 offers. By then, I suspected Lucy was hoping we'd offer to let her stay with us until she found a house. But it wasn't my house, and my parents weren't offering. 3 months passed, and Lucy started saying, "I have to make sure I keep booking this Airbnb on time, or I'll end up sleeping in my car." It was winter, so I said, "This isn't our house, so I can't let you live here. But if it comes to staying in your car, I bet we can figure something out for a night." "Oh no, I'm fine. A couple weeks later, Lucy called Sam to say that she was staying in a hotel. Much better than living in my car. Did I mention I've been living in my car? No? At this point, Lucy was laughing about the whole thing, so Sam laughed too and shrugged the whole thing off. Then 2 more weeks later, Sam got a text from Tom. "I can't believe you're making your sister live in her car." In January. "You are a human piece of shit." Turns out, Lucy had gone back to sleeping in her car. And she'd told Tom that we'd refused to let her stay with us, in a house that isn't ours, forcing her to live in her car. I was livid. Never once had she told us she was going to be homeless. Never once had she actually asked for help. And now, she was badmouthing us to Tom, who was badmouthing us to the rest of the family. Everything blew up. This is a tight-knit family, so around 10 people got involved. Lots of accusations, yelling, and harsh texts. I stayed out of it because it's Sam's family, not mine, and I was too furious to be reasonable. Eventually, Sam and Lucy talked it out, and we re-entered a state of peace. This was 2 years ago, and no one's mentioned it since. But here's where I might be ta. A week ago, Lucy, Sam, and I were laughing about something dumb I said to a friend. I was like, "It's a miracle he and I are still friends." And Lucy said, "At least you didn't make him live in his car. That would really kill things." She laughed, I think to try and break the ice on that memory. But in 2 years, she and Tom never apologized for lying about us and calling Sam a poss. So I just said, "You were in your 40s, Lucy. You could have gotten a damn apartment. Now we live in awkward land again. Am I the asshole?" Not the asshole. She moved for a job, she could have gotten an apartment. She decided to live in her car. Her husband could have found her an apartment instead of blaming you. If she was keen for her husband and son to live with her, she should have been moving a lot faster. I would be LC at this stage, too much drama and unhinged expectation. Awkward land provides excellent conditions for LC. Remain in it until she sees the light. Not the asshole. People who play the victim continue playing the victim. Good luck with that. Not the asshole. Her lack of effort to find her own accommodation as a grown adult is a her problem, not a you problem. She made herself homeless instead of taking help that was given or offered to help her find accommodations. Not the asshole. Were you or husband supposed to be mind readers and just know she was sleeping in her car? Like you said, it wasn't your house to offer, and does no one blame Lucy for dragging her feet and getting herself in this situation? Nope. She wasn't trying to break the ice, she was trying to subtly take a dig at you. Not the asshole for pointing out that she's an adult and could have found a place to live. Not the asshole. You really need to start going low contact on her. She's a liar and you cannot trust her at all. Am I the asshole for not taking my nieces and nephew to the beach? My sister left her husband and is living with my mom. She has 3 kids. 6 male, 1.5y, and 4y old. I have 2 kids of my own, 5 and 7. My wife and I have tried to help out when we can and have been spending a lot of time helping my sister get back on her feet. We have also been helping my mother financially. My wife and I go away and visit her family for almost 2 weeks a year around the 4th of July. They have a home on the beach, and since my wife doesn't see her family as much, it's time for her and our kids to reconnect. We also fly, and it's over 1,000 miles away to visit, so traveling is an ordeal with my 2 kids, and it's expensive right now. My sister heard we were still going, and she's panicking about how she and our mom can handle her kids for 2 weeks. Also, my mom started with how it's unfair that my kids get to go to the beach and my sister's kids can't, and wondered if we could all go. I said no, it's my wife's family, and she doesn't get to see them that often, and it's not fair to her to take it away. My sister and mom started talking about how they had money and could afford to host. This comment pissed me off, and I told them to stop thinking you can rely on other people's money. I told them since I'm going on vacation, I will not be helping my mom and sister with June, July bills, and they need to figure it out. It's been 6 months, and my sister needs to pull herself together. I'm also not helping as much with childcare because both are ungrateful. My mom was shocked at my attitude, but I feel so used and upset that they would even ask that of me and my wife. My mom has tried to backtrack, saying stuff like, I just thought it would be nice of you, but I'm not having it after all my wife and I, have done for their ungrateful asses. Sister is wondering how she and mom can handle her 3 children for 2 weeks? Newsflash, she needs to handle them for the next 18 years or more. She needs to make sure that she never gets pregnant again if that is her logic. Not the asshole. At all. Their expectations of you are shocking. As a married woman whose husband's brother is incredibly well off and lives on the beach in San Diego, I would be horrified if my own immediate family ever had expectations of me to invite them along. I would be so embarrassed to be so rude as to ask if I could bring my family. Also, your sister and mother should be grateful for everything you've given them and should have zero expectations of anything more. Just their attitude about it would make me want to stop helping. If I were planning to leave my husband and had expectations of anyone, I would have had a discussion prior to the separation. And if she wants her kids to go to the beach, she should ask her ex for financial help with that. Not the asshole. You didn't invite them, nor is it your place to. They're mooching. Not the asshole. So in addition to free childcare, she wants a free vacation. Nope. It's not up to you and your spouse to sort out someone else's lifestyle choices. Maybe she should use those weeks to earn money and get back on her feet. She already has 3 other adults helping her. She needs to quit trying to drain people of more than she already is. My mom started with how it's unfair that my kids get to go to the beach and my sister's kids can't. I had wealthy cousins that got to go on big vacations while my siblings and I couldn't. It was no big deal. No trauma resulted. That's life. Not the asshole. 2 weeks? My dad used to travel and my mom handled the 3 of us by herself for 3 weeks at a time, plus take care of the house, mow the lawn, plus do the grocery shopping. 3 kids under 5. And your sister has your mom to help out. Your sister and your mom are acting rather entitled with your time and your in-laws' money. You are 100% correct and not harsh enough. Not the asshole that's crazy and entitled.